Sit close. The fire remembers.
The drought had lasted 3 summers. In the village of Millbrook, the river had shrunk to a muddy trickle, then to scattered pools of stagnant water, then finally to nothing but cracked earth and the bleached bones of fish. The mill wheel stood silent, for fields withered in the fields, livestock died. Families who could afford to leave packed what they could carry, and headed north, chasing rumors of rain. Those who remained, the poor, the old, the stubbornly rooted, rationed what little water they could draw from the ancient well in the village square. The well that, until 3 years ago, had been sealed with an iron grate and a lock, forbidden by order of the old lord's grandfather. No one remembered why any more. The old lord himself was long dead, and his grandson had never bothered to enforce forgotten laws. When the river died, they broke the lock. The water that came up was cold and clear, tasting faintly of minerals. It kept them alive, and for 2 years, that seemed to be enough. Then the rains came. It began as a drizzle one evening in late autumn. By morning it had become a downpour that lasted 3 days and 3 nights. The villagers wept with relief. They danced in the streets. Children laughed with their mouths open to the sky. The river swelled back to life, brown and churning, but beautiful. On the 4th morning, the rain stopped. The sky cleared to a washed-out blue. And that night, young Thomas Millison walked to the well. His mother found him at dawn, standing at the stone rim, staring down into the darkness. His nightshirt was soaked, his feet bare and muddy. He didn't respond when she called his name. She had to pull him away by force, and even then his head kept turning, his eyes fixed on the well, as she dragged him home. "Just sleepwalking," her husband said, though his voice lacked conviction. The boy's done it before, but Thomas had never done it before. And that night, he did it again. This time his father found him just before dawn. The boy's lips were moving, but no sound came out. When his father lifted him, Thomas was only 7, still small enough to carry. His body was rigid, muscles locked tight. His eyes never left the well. By the 3rd night, Thomas wasn't the only one. The cooper's daughter, Anna, was found standing beside Thomas. Then the baker's twin sons. Then old widow Farrow's grandson. Within a week, 11 children were walking to the well each night. Nothing their parents did could stop them. Locked doors meant nothing. The children clawed at them until their fingers bled or lay silent through the night, only to rise earlier than before. When tied to their beds, they strained against their bonds without a sound until exhaustion took them, then tried again the next night. The village priest blessed the well. He prayed over the children. It changed nothing. "We should seal it again," said Margaret Farrow, the blacksmith's wife. "Whenever was locked away, we let it out." "The well saved us," argued Peter Thorne, the baker. "Without it, we'd all be dead. You want to condemn us for surviving." "My grandson won't eat," Margaret said. Her voice cracked. "He just stares. He's wasting away. Something is wrong." They argued for 3 days, while the children continued their nightly vigil. During the day, the children moved like puppets, slow, uncertain, as if they'd forgotten how their bodies worked. At night, they walked to the well in perfect coordination, never stumbling, never hesitating. It was Edmund Farrow, the blacksmith, who finally went down. He was a practical man, skeptical of superstition, and tired of arguing. If there was something in the well, he would remove it. If there was nothing, the village could stop tearing itself apart. At sunset, he gathered a lantern and rope. A crowd followed him to the square. Edmund tied the rope around his waist, lit his lantern, and lowered himself over the edge. The well was deep, 40 feet at least. The water lay far below, a black mirror reflecting his light. He descended carefully, boots scraping against slick stone, iron rungs set generations ago, guiding his way. At 20 feet, He called up that he saw nothing unusual. At 30 feet, his voice echoed strangely, arriving a moment late, as if the well were deeper than it should be. At 35 feet, just above the waterline, he stopped. "There's something here," he called. "Markings on the wall. Symbols. Wards, maybe. They've been scratched away. Recently." Then he went silent. "Edmund," Margaret called. "There's something in the water," he said faintly. "I can see it. It's—" The rope went slack, not falling, not jerking, simply loose. A soft splash followed, almost gentle, like someone stepping carefully into a bath. They rushed forward and hauled the rope back up. It came easily, too easily. The loop was still tied. Edmund was gone. His lantern light wavered on the water's surface below, then vanished. They called down into the darkness for an hour. No answer came back. Nothing but dripping water, and a soft, rhythmic scraping, like fingernails on stone. At dawn the children arrived, all 11 of them. They arranged themselves evenly around the well's rim, staring down into the darkness. And together, in one voice, they whispered, "It's climbing up, one brick at a time." Panic spread through the village. Margaret demanded they fill the well immediately. Others wanted to lower ropes and search for Edmund. The priest spoke of judgment, but Thomas's father, John Millison, noticed something else. "Look where they're standing," he said. The children were spaced evenly, like hours on a clock face. Each stood at a precise distance from the edge. John stretched a rope from the well's center, connecting each child in turn. A 12-pointed star formed on the ground. "Wards," the priest whispered. "They're showing us where the wards were. Can we remake them?" someone asked. "I don't know how," the priest said. "The church forbids such things." "Then we find someone who does," Margaret said. It took 2 days to find the herb woman in the woods. She came bent with age, smelling of smoke and dried roots. She laughed when she saw the children. "Fools," she said. "You broke the binding of the deep." She told them the well was built over a door. Something had tried to open it from below. The well was never meant to be used, only to seal. "The children can still be saved," she said. "But every night they stand there. It climbs closer." They had 3 days. The village worked through the night. John carved the symbols the old woman drew. 12 stones were set where the children had stood. Blood was given freely. Margaret's, the priest's, others who volunteered. As they worked, sounds rose from the well, scraping, wet breathing, and once, a voice that might have been Edmund's, begging to be let out. Margaret wept, but she did not stop. On the 3rd night, hours before the new moon, the final stone was set. The old woman finished her chant. The children collapsed where they stood. Silence followed. Then the well released a long, frustrated exhalation. The water churned violently. The scraping grew frantic, then stopped. Color returned to the children's faces. Thomas opened his eyes, confused. "It's sealed," the old woman said. For now, Edmund was gone. Nothing of him remained to save. The village built a stone wall around the well. The ward stones were checked every morning and night. The well was never filled in. Years later, guards still heard the grown children whisper on moonless nights from different homes across the village in perfect unison. "It's still there. It's still climbing. One brick at a time." Deep in the well, something patient continues its work. Scratching, climbing, waiting. After all, the well is deep, and some things know how to climb.